She started off as my sweetest client and I ended up blocking her. Here's the story of my client who constantly pushed my boundaries as a nail tech and why you should always trust your gut as a small business owner. I had just reached the point in nail school where I was able to start taking clients and I was super excited. I had been building my social media a lot and this girl had reached out to me on Instagram and wanted to book a pedicure. So I book her for a pedicure. She comes in, we're around the same age. We actually had a lot in common and I do the pedicure. We had a great time chatting and then she pays and she leaves and tells me she wants to book another pedicure, and I thought I had just gained a new regular client. When it was time for her second pedicure, she had texted me just before the appointment and let me know that she had cut her toenails and that she was a little bit worried that she might have cut them too short. When she came in for the appointment, most of her toenails looked fine, but her one big toe was cut super short and you couldn't see a free edge. And she told me she was concerned about it because she said she was prone to getting ingrowns. But then she continued by saying that if she did get an ingrown, she would just call me and have me remove it. And at that point, I had to explain to her that I was unable to do anything regarding ingrown toenails because I was a nail tech, not a medical provider, and that wasn't within my scope of practice. She couldn't really wrap her head around the fact that I wouldn't do anything if it turned into an ingrown toenail, and she asked me if I would be able to just remove it for her as a friend, and I told her no, that I wouldn't be able to do that. And at one point my nail instructor actually had to step in and let her know, hey, sorry, but Shelby doesn't do things like that and she wouldn't be able to do anything regarding any ingrown toenails. You would have to go see a doctor. Eventually she dropped it and I did what I was able to do regarding the pedicure, and then she paid me and she ended up scheduling a nail appointment after that. But a little over a week later, she texted me and told me that she was starting to get an ingrown toenail in her big toe and asked me once again if I was sure I couldn't remove it, and I told her the same thing. I'm sorry, it's not within my scope of practice. I can't do anything regarding that. And then she messaged my nail instructor and said, hey, I know Shelby can't remove my ingrown toenail, but would you be able to remove my ingrown toenail? And my instructor had to tell her the same thing. No, it's not within my scope of practice. I'm sorry, but you'll have to go see a doctor. So eventually she ends up going and seeing a doctor and getting the ingrown toenail removed, and then it's time for her nail appointment. At the time, I was still offering full sets, and so she came in and I did her nails. I added length to them. They looked really good. She was really happy. I was really proud of them. But then when it gets to the point of her paying me, she asks me if she can pay me tomorrow when she gets paid. Being the people pleaser that I was at the time, I told her yes, she could pay me the next day, and thankfully she did pay me the next day, but in hindsight, I should not have let her do that. But then just a few days after that, she texts me and tells me that she loves her nails, but that she just can't get over the length and she needed me to file them shorter because they were just way too long. I told her that I was sorry she was unhappy with the length, that, I made sure a few different times that it was the length she wanted, and she said that she thought it was the length she wanted, but they were just too long. And so we scheduled a time for her to come in so that I could file them down. She comes in, I filed them shorter, and she leaves happy. She comes in for her first nail fill, and at this point her nails had obviously grown back out again, and I asked her if she wanted to keep the length or she wanted to cut them down, and reminded her that last time she thought they were too long, and she said, no, I like the length, I'm happy with the length, we can just keep them. So I did her nails and everything seemed fine. Then again, just a few days later, she texts me and says, hey, my nails are too long, can I come in right now so you can file them shorter? And I told her, I'm not at the salon right now, I can let you know when I am at the salon again, or you can message some other people that I know and see if they would be able to file them down. And then she asks me if I could just come to her house and file them down for her. She said she was way too scared to file them down herself, and I told her I understood, but that I was sorry, we would have to wait until I was back in the salon another day. I explained the situation to my instructor, and my instructor said, that's fine that the first time you filed them down for her for free, but if she does want you to file them down for her again, you do need to charge her a nail fix charge, because that's still taking time out of your day to provide her a service. So I explained this to the client that if she wanted to come in when I was back in the salon, I could file them down for her, but I would have to charge her a $5 nail fix fee. And then she told me it was fine, that she would just try to do it herself. She came in again, but then after that appointment, she told me she was going to take a break from a while for nails because she needed to save money for a little bit. Months later, I was officially licensed. I had kept my pricing the same as it was when I was in nail school for the first year I did nails, but I had also at that point created my own policies. One of those policies being that my clients needed to pay me the same day that their nail service was provided. A few months after my last appointment with that client, when I'm officially on my own and have all of these things set in place, she reaches out to me again and tells me she's in a better place in life and wants to book another nail appointment. I send her all of my policies, and she still asks me if she could book an appointment that week and pay me the next week when she got paid. And I told her no, that in my policies it states payment needs to be made the day I do your service, and that we would need to schedule her appointment after she got paid. So we scheduled the appointment around her payday. And in that same text conversation, she had also asked me if at her next appointment if she could do a luminary manicure. I'm from Utah, and a lot of people in Utah that are not nail techs get a little bit confused when they hear the word luminary manicure because they kind of just group it as a very specific type of manicure. But really what luminary is it is a brand name for a multi-flex or a builder in a bottle gel. It's flexible, it's strong, but it also can be soaked off. So it's basically a hybrid between a hard gel and a soft gel. And there are a lot of other brands out there that also make hybrid gels. And the one that I use just isn't luminary. It's called Nail Thoughts. And so I explained that to her. And then she still followed up by saying, okay, but how much will you charge me if I do a luminary manicure instead? And I had to explain the same thing again, but basically in a different way. And I tried to be nice because I knew that she probably just wasn't